and welcome to Books Unbound, the podcast where we unbind books to get to their hearts with your hosts, us. It's Ariel and
Raylene. Hi.
Here we are. It's time to talk reading, books, literature, and other things as well. We've have it all here at Books Unbound.
Books, life, and literature.
That's funny. I had a fun event happen this week and this weekend, so I just want to start talking about that.
Please, I haven't heard anything about it, so I've been curious.
Yeah, you're right. Actually, I was not very communicative. It was very overwhelming. As you've seen, they are very overwhelming when they're happening. So it's hard to keep people updated and in the loop until they're done. But I did my final Beset Books event of the year. So, as you all know, I did my miniature book truck project this year. And as you all know, Raylene and I did an event when Raylene came to visit at the end of September. Mm-hmm. At that event, a wonderful person came up to us, Kydra, and they were super friendly. And I remember that they bought a big book. Oh, they bought the Stephen King 11/22/63.
I was so pleased with that.
And their partner got Ping Pong.
Yes.
And we were so excited.
And is that the one that I stamped upside down?
Oh my god, yeah, it might be actually. But they came up, they bought some books, they were really friendly, and they they listened to the podcast and stuff, and Kydra was like telling me that they run this event called Books and Brews, which is an adult book fair. Which, whenever I say adult book fair, it sounds to me like a porn book fair.
It does sound
It's not that.
It's just not for kids.
It's just not for kids necessarily, but kids could have come. Like, it's a book fair, but skewed to adults instead of a book fair that we think of as like a scholastic kids book fair. And so they were hosting this cool book fair, and they've done it before, and they were moving into a bigger and new space, and they invited me to be a part of it. And they were like, it's happening at Propeller Arcade, and so your book truck can't fit. But if you wanted to just do like a table type setup, you could come do that. And I was like, that's so nice. And even though I really didn't want to do any events after the kind of summertime, I knew that I was going to have books left over. So I was like, I won't order new books. I won't order new stuff for that event. I'll just try and do a clear out situation. And so I said yes, and I happily was a part of this event. And it was really, really cool. It was lovely. It was a lot of really cool sellers, Ray. There was a poet who, I'll link the people I mentioned in the description, but there was a poet who, has a typewriter there, and you can go up and you can, like, do a poem on demand, and you give her you give her a theme, and she just, will then write a poem and deliver it to you, which is really cool. So Connor got a poem about birds, which was really nice. And there was a cool, a person selling really nice candles. Actually, I'm burning one of the candles right now, and it smells insanely good. Evergreen and apple. Yeah.
Flawless.
Yeah, that's right. Yep. Made in Nova Scotia. Wild Card Candle Company. They were the stall next to me, actually. And then there was also a really beautiful stationery stall from this girl, actually, whose company is Kaye. I feel like you have to pronounce it in the French way, right? Kaye? There's no English way to say Cahier.
No, I don't think so.
Here?
Yeah, no, you gotta be French.
It must be Kaye, yeah. Her stationery stall, again, that was the one that was the candles was next to me on the right, the Kaye was next to me on the left, and because of my setup, I was closer to the left, and I was just watching people buy stationery, and I was like, God, I'm gonna go spend so much money over there. But then there was also some other booksellers. Venus Envy was there, and King's Co-op Bookshop was there, who they're part of the organizers of the event. And I don't know if you remember, I went to King's as part of my every bookshop in Nova Scotia thing. And oh my god, it was so funny. So when I went, it's on Dalhousie's campus, and I couldn't tell if it was a campus bookshop or not a campus bookshop. And because it's such a great bookshop, I was just like, it totally counts. Like, everyone should go to this bookshop. It's a great bookshop, but it's hard to tell. Okay. Anyway, I met the guy who runs the bookshop. Yeah. I forget his name now because I'm terrible at names. He was super, super nice, and he gave us pastries afterwards. Anyways, he was lovely. I met him, and he said, it's so nice to meet you. I was like, it's lovely to meet you. Thank you so much for having me as part of your event. And he was like, I heard your podcast episode about our bookshop. And I was like internally like mortified. I was like, I don't remember what I said about... Like, I know that I like it, so I must have said that I like it, right? Yeah. But I'm like, oh my God, that's so funny. And he was like, you said that our sign was really weird. And I was like, oh my God, I did. So I don't know if you remember, but like you're looking around on campus, it's hard to spot the building that the bookshop is in. Mm-hmm. And the only sign that they had was like a printed piece of paper, like one print, like a printed sheet anyone could have printed, and it was kind of like fallen over, and it was just like clearly sun faded and taped to the inside of a window, and it just felt really unofficial. And I was like, I was with Connor, and I was like, I guess this is it. This looks like no one. Yeah. This seems wrong, but we followed it anyway, and we did get to the bookshop, and then the bookshop is awesome. And he's like, you said that on the podcast, so we have a nicer sign now. And I was like, oh my God!
Influencer match?
So anyways, I feel bad, but also good about that. Because largely because it's a great bookshop, and I'm sure now it's easier to find it.
Yeah.
And so I just think that I wanted to tell you that anecdote.
No, I love that. As soon as you said the name of the bookstore, I was like, either this is that one, or the one that only had like one shelf of books, and you were like, does this count? But that was probably a different one. But that's what, I knew
controversy.
And that one, that would have been bad if that was the one, because I don't think you spoke too favorably about that one.
Scary stuff.
But that's
great. Anyways, it was really nice to meet him, and it was a very funny interaction, and I hope that we're friends now, me and Kings, because I do love that shop. And anyways, so that was a funny thing I wanted to tell you. I really liked my setup. So basically, I had a little desk. I found this desk on Facebook Marketplace, and the second I saw it, so basically I was imagining my setup, and I was like, I could have like a table or a shelf, or what if I had a desk, like a cute little desk, and then like I could display stuff, and so I started looking, and I found the most perfect desk. It's so beautiful. It's so little and cute and perfect. And it was only $60, and I was like, yes! So I bought that little desk, and I had it as part of my setup, and then a bookshelf, and then a little table. And I had all my books out. I had my t-shirts and my mugs and my ball caps. So I had my little stall, and I was very proud of all my little things, which was really nice. And people really loved it. People loved the books, and they love Raylene, people love the I'm thinking about books slogan. It's just people are like, I'm always thinking about books. I'm like, I know. Right? Me too. So it was very, very sweet. I did one new thing this year. And I didn't take a great photo of it. I did take video of it though, because I'm making this whole thing into a little vlog for the Patreon. But I didn't grab a great photo of it. Things went from 0 to 100 really fast. Yeah. Like it was like 11:50, and I was like, okay, I've got a little more time. And then suddenly it was 12, and everything was starting, and people were filing in, and I had to start selling stuff, and I didn't get the photo. I didn't have the moment beforehand where I needed to take photos. But anyways, I did a new thing. I wrapped a bunch of books.
Oh, yeah.
And did blind books. Blind date with a book is the idea, right? So basically, if you haven't, I'm sure you've seen this by now, but if you haven't seen it, you take a book, and you're like, you see this in bookstores all the time. The book owner takes a book, wraps it in gift wrap, so you cannot see what the book is, and on the front, they write down some key details for you. So, is it fiction, nonfiction, fantasy? Is it fun? Is it exciting? Is it scary? Is it sad? Is it, and then any other interesting kind of like alluring details to kind of make the person be like, okay, I don't, like, it's a surprise, but I have a feeling I would like this one. So, for example, I should have taken a photo for now so that I could remember what the hell I wrote on any of these things. But I know that on Outlawed, I did Outlawed by Anna North. My final point was, yeehaw!
Perfect. What more could you need?
So stuff like that. So little details. Okay, I've done blind dates with books before, and they're always fun. It's an enjoyable thing, but you do often get duds, and you're like, this is why the booksellers.
They were just trying to get rid of it.
They're just trying to get rid of it, and I always find that extremely disappointing, because you're like, great, now I have to get rid of this thing. Like, it's just like, we're just passing this book that no one wants along. I was like, no, I'm gonna wrap like really good books.
Awesome.
So they were all really good books, like Blue Horses, Outlawed. I had Sound of a Wild Snail Eating, and My Sister the Serial Killer. Like, I had books that I think people genuinely want and will be excited to get. So I was very proud of that thing. It took forever, though. Like, it took so long to wrap them. Wrapping takes a long time, actually.
Tell me about it.
Just, like...
Last year I did this for my brother with, like, 13 books.
Yes! I did it with... I had, like, 20 books. And I had more that I was going to wrap, and I just gave up.
Yeah.
I was like, screw it. I don't want to wrap them anymore. I'm done wrapping. So I wrapped, like, it was something like 20 books. And then I had to still go ahead and write on all of them. Yeah. I also didn't want to lose track of what they were, so I was, like, having little sticky notes on them.
That's exactly
with the
what
title.
I did.
It's a whole thing.
Yeah.
Anyways, I was like, I hope these sell. Because this was a lot of effort, actually.
Yeah.
They all sold within an hour.
No way. Oh, that makes me so happy.
Crazy. It was I was like, I should have spent days, like, leading up to this. If I ever do a Christmas event, or actually, I can just imagine this working anytime.
Yeah, totally.
I'm definitely going to do this because people love the mystery.
That's so cool.
They're down for the mystery. I did discount all the books as well. Like, they were all $15. I was like, $15 for a mystery book. And it is a deal because they were really good books and they were all new. But I was just trying to get rid of books at this point, right? Like, the point for me for this event was just get rid of books so that I don't have to stock them in my back room in my house.
Still had a lot. I saw the piles.
Yeah.
There were a lot of books.
Yeah. So I sold 78 books, which is great. I sold a bunch of t-shirts, a lot of mugs, a lot of ball caps. People love the ball caps.
Easy Christmas gift.
Yeah, this was the thing. A lot of people were like, oh my god, this will be perfect for my grandma. This will be perfect for my sister. Nice. And I was like, awesome. She'll probably also want a mug, huh? But yeah, it was really, really fun and friendly. There was like, in the first hour I sold like 18 of the 20. There was 2 that were lingering. One was Blue Horses poetry. I always knew poetry would be a tough sell, but I knew someone would eventually get it, and they did. And then there was someone and there was a book that was The Sound of a Wild Snail Eating. And I remember I had written on the top memoir, and then the first bullet point was unique pet. And I think that really turned people off.
They're like, why would I care about that? That's funny.
But eventually, oh no, I gave that one away to a friend. A friend came to the stall and I was like, take it! This is fun, take it. But yeah, so that was really a fun element of the whole thing. But the final thing that I really wanted to mention was just that I got to meet a lot of new people from the podcast. I had lots of people come and tell me that they listened to the podcast and that they had tried to go to our event or go to a different event during the year and that they kept not being able to because this summer was crazy and they were so glad that I was doing a Christmas one. And I got to meet lots of lovely people. And Melanie, oh my god, Melanie, swear to god, Melanie gave me the greatest gift of all time. I actually couldn't believe it, really. Okay. So first of all, I got this really very cute tote bag that has like faux leather straps and a cute little thing. Like, it's a very nice bag, actually. High quality bag. On the inside of the bag, I was given, oh my god, actually one of the items we've already taken away. It was a cool, little a little Earl Grey tea. And I love Earl Grey tea. Nice. So that was very cool. I got a really sweet card, which is really cute. And I thought I wanted to read it to you because it says, well, I'll read you just the very, very end, which at the front it says, thank you. And then it says, so much to you and Raylene. You and Raylene bring me so much joy. So you got a shout out on the card, right?
Nice.
Classico. And she gave me The Blue Castle, the original manuscript.
Cool.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really cool. It's got like it's got pictures of a lot of the pages, but it's also just typed out and then scribbled, and all of her notes are written down and everything. Sick. So that's very cool. I've seen this in shops before, and I was like, oh, that's so nice. And I got a Maud Lewis journal, which is really beautiful. Gotta think about what I want to put in there.
Yeah.
But le pièce de résistance.
There's more.
Okay? There's more. And I actually, Melanie, I hope that you're listening. I have actually not taken this thing off, except for when I hit record on this camera. Okay? Melanie made me this unbelievably beautiful crocheted thing.
Oh my God.
It's a giant crocheted triangle.
Yeah.
In her card, she wrote, wait for it, I hope you like what I'm calling a reading shawl / lap blanket.
Ooh.
So it's kind of like a small blanket or a big shawl.
Mm-hmm.
And what I've been doing with it, okay, Melanie doesn't know this, but what I have wanted for years, since I saw Little Women, Greta Gerwig's Little Women, is I want a shawl that you wear around here, but then you tie around in the back.
Oh, yeah.
And this is long enough that I can tie it in the back. And so I did that when I got home, and I didn't take it off until I had to set up for this podcast, and now look at me. I'm back where I belong.
You're so cozy. I love the progression from the start of the episode to here. I love that you went from not cozy to very cozy.
So cozy. I also, I was wearing it in bed, and at that point, I was able to really bring it over and become the cushioned person I am meant to be. Connor has a lot of photos of me like this now. He just keeps taking photos of me.
That is incredible.
Unbelievable.
Well, that's reminding me. That's what I want to become now, is a very prolific crocheter. I want to make things that I can wear on my head, because it's so freaking cold here. Oh yeah,
so, Calgary. Hell yeah.
I need that. I need to make myself warm.
I love those. I keep seeing them on Instagram. They're it's I think I linked it to you before. I'm pretty sure that I did. It's a hood, but it's also a long scarf, so you can kind of hood and scarf it.
I'm definitely going to make one of those.
That's really cool. I think those are beautiful. But yeah, so Melanie was so kind to give... I mean, this is insane.
That is crazy.
I don't know anything about crocheting, really, but I know that this is hours and hours and hours of work. It definitely
took many hours, yeah.
Yeah, so I'm just very grateful. I like imagining that she was making it while she was listening to the pod, which is really fun. And I also just am obsessed with the color palette. I feel like she knows me well.
Yeah.
Losing it.
It's perfect.
I'm losing it. It's unbelievable, really. Okay, so the final thing I wanted to do was to do a little stationery haul, because I did buy a bunch of stuff at Kaye.
Bring it on.
And I will link them below, because the owner, Ashley, is really, really kind. Lovely person. She was telling me that she's hoping to start a physical location at some point. And listen, if Halifax had a stationery shop, oh shit.
You wouldn't be stopped.
So up first, I got a red Le Pen. I have a lot of these. I went through a real Le Pen phase in my early 20s where all I would write with was the lavender colored one.
Oh.
These are such great pens. They're really nice. But I was so excited that she had them, because I exclusively use these red pens to cross off items on my to-do lists in my YouTube videos.
Yeah.
So this is technically a business expense. Thank you. Okay, then I got this gorgeous ballpoint pen. I don't really know anything about it. It's just very pretty.
I like that it says ballpoint pen on it.
Yeah, me too. Ballpoint pen. Oh, good. Just in case you forget. Okay, then, I got this beautiful notebook.
Ooh.
Just gorgeous. This part comes off. The creators of this are And Here We Are. They do letterpress stuff, which it's just very, very beautiful. Actually, I need to send a photo of this to my friend Jamie. They'll lose it. It's just a very beautiful little notebook.
I love that.
And finally, this is so cool. It's this little tiny, I'm going to open it. Did it just stick to my hair? No, it fell. Okay. It's this tiny little classic spiral bound looking notebook. Classic, what is this? 4 by 3 inches? Nah, 5 by 3, I think. Anyway, it doesn't matter, sorry. I got distracted. Have you seen, I'm getting distracted again. Have you seen those people that have a ruler tattooed onto their body?
No. What?
I'm this close. I don't
think you need it. I think you've got it all locked up there.
Actually, I think you're right. I'm pretty good at guessing.
You're really
pretty good at guessing. But yeah, so this is a small little spiral bound notebook, but it's actually a calendar, eh?
Aww.
It's a really cute little calendar, and I absolutely love the shape of this.
Yeah.
And I had a calendar that was this exact same size, but sideways, like it opened like that way. And I loved using it as a micro journal. So just basically like every day you write down the big thing that happened that day. And then at the end of the year, you have like this full journal that was no effort. It's like a 1 bullet point every day, just filling in these tiny little squares.
Cute.
And I just love stuff like this. So I had to get one.
That's awesome.
Had to.
You had to.
It's out of my control, really. So those are my adventures at my final event of the year. I marked all my books 30% off. It was very exciting. I was like, and you get 30% off, and you get 30% off. So I made way less money, but I was like in the Christmas spirit. I was like, I didn't even care. I just wanted to get rid of the books. That was like the main thing. Yeah. And I just wanted to like people to buy books. So I was very happy to have them on a big sale like that.
Totally. So how many books do you have left now? I guess is the question that everyone will want to know.
Good question. I didn't count. I should have counted at the end, but I have 2.5 boxes full.
That's not bad.
But no, it's not that much. That's not that much. I started the day with 5 boxes. Yeah. So now I only have 2.5 boxes, and they're the really nice Staples containers. Do you remember the nice clear plastic ones? So those can just be slotted in anywhere. I don't have any more cardboard boxes in my life, which is...
Oh, that's be nice. Huge. I'm jealous of that.
Yeah, sorry. Don't mean to rub that in.
Triggered, but okay.
Yeah, so it was a really fun event. I'm glad to have done it. And there you go, the last event of the season. Now I'm in this big phase where I have to figure out what I want to do next year with the whole endeavor, which is I'll think about that in January.
Yeah, you don't have to think about that right now. You got a long time before the spring comes.
All right, Ray. That was a lot of me talking, but it was fun to talk about this final event that I did. How are you doing? How's life in the big winter city?
It is a big winter city. Yeah, it's just blanketed in snow completely. Yeah. And for the most part, I haven't had to drive in it. But this weekend, I did have to drive because Kyle and I went on a big adventure. So Saturday, we spent pretty much the entire day out and about doing a bunch of running around because as I think I mentioned in last week's episode, like Kyle didn't have a desk or anything yet. Like there's still a lot of furniture we need to get. And Kyle was like, you know what? I really want to try and get my desk this weekend. And I was like, sure, no problem. And so we went to go do it. We went to go order it from IKEA. And it was like, okay, delivery date will be December 8th, which at this point was like a week. And he was like, what? I don't want to wait a week. This is crazy. No. And so we were like, well, I guess we'll just have to go pick it up. But all we have is one little car. And so we were like, okay, if we're going to do this, it's going to be a whole thing. We're going to have to like rent a van or a truck or something, drive out there. So basically Saturday was spent doing all of that. We were rushing around, trying, like Home Depot was like holding the van for us for half an hour. We were like across town. We had to zip across and we almost didn't get it. It was this whole thing. And then it all worked out though. We got it. We went to IKEA and Kyle drove the truck to IKEA and I was like doing other running around and I met him there. Yeah. And when I met him there, he was like, come look, I found bookshelves for you. And I was like, oh, what? Because I had kind of like had a mental idea of what bookshelves I thought I wanted to get. Yeah. Because they were like cheap and like kind of customizable, but like kind of ugly. I would say they're not the most beautiful shelves. And so I was like, I'm just going to get those because they're cheap and whatever. And then, but I got there and Kyle was like, okay, I know these are like a little more expensive than what you wanted, but look how beautiful they look. And he showed me a picture of how they could look. And they're behind me. Like they're right there. Yes. I just haven't set them up yet because we were so tired after the whole thing because we ran around for probably 7 hours and like forgot to eat lunch, of course, as one does. And then we got home and spent like 3 hours setting up a desk and chair and everything. So we were like, you know what? The bookshelves can wait. This was Kyle's weekend. I can wait. But I did reorganize my little cart of books that people watching the video will be able to see. I made a little video for the Patreon of me like opening up a couple of boxes and setting it up. And someone was like, you should keep going through the boxes so that it's just fully a TBR cart. Because basically I ended up with like Twilight books in there and like a lot of things that I had already read. So it wasn't like the most functional TBR cart. And so I took that person's advice. I went through like 8 different boxes and pulled out all the unread books I could find. So now it's like full of TBR books, which is very exciting and tempting. But as we'll get to shortly, I am really focusing on my reading goals now. That's my new mission for the end of the year. So I'm not looking at that cart anymore. But yeah, so my background's a little crazy right now, but next week I should have bookshelves. That's my challenge to myself.
That's exciting.
Yeah.
I'll be so excited to see that progress. That'll be really cool.
It's going to be sick.
That reminds me, we did have a couple of little updates we wanted to tell everyone. We can fit those in really quick, and then we can talk about our reading, because I'm really curious about this reading goal situation you've mentioned. Really quick, we have 2 fun notes. The first one, I honestly can't believe that this is happening. But the first one is that our yearly reading survey is here.
Oh my God.
For the last few years, maybe 3 years, 4 years?
We've been doing it for a long time.
Like. Yeah. We've been putting out these reading surveys. And they are just a way for us to look in at all of your reading. Because we spend the whole year talking about our reading, but we think it's really fun to talk about your reading. And at the very end of the year, we will look at your statistics and we'll discuss the trends that we've noticed and stuff. And it's always a lot of fun. So we really hope that you'll fill it out. It's fun to fill it out. Like, it's really, really fun to fill it out.
And it's so fun for us to look at. Like, I look forward to this so much every year. I spent hours pouring through the spreadsheet last year because it was 100%. So fun.
It's so much fun. So, it's questions like, how many books did you read this year? Did you achieve your goals? If you didn't, why not? Like, stuff like that. That's just like a fun reflection on your year of reading. So if you want to check that out, it is linked in the description, and you have until Christmas to fill it out, I think is basically right. So, but the sooner you do it, the sooner we have your data, which is great. Nothing weird, no weird data. Reading data. Normal data.
Yeah, really normal stuff.
Really classic normal stuff, So that's really fun. And if you're a patron and you're listening to this, we'll also mention it in the Q&A that we do after, but there's also a Patreon survey that is available now that has some extra questions and stuff. So that's our first bit of news. And the second bit of news is that our Bookmark subscription is now reopened. So we talked about this a little bit last week, but I wanted to talk about it again this week, because if you subscribe now, you won't get charged. You don't get charged until the bookmarks ship out, but it means that you will be subscribed in order to get the first bookmarks of the year, which will get charged in January. So if you want to get the first bookmarks of the year, now is the time to subscribe. So there you go.
Beautiful.
And now we will transition and talk about our reading. I'm curious what the hell you're doing over there, so you start us off.
Okay, so I kind of had a revelation over the past week, because last week after we recorded, we had a little meeting to talk about our end of the year episodes and figure out when we're going to be recording and stuff. And we realized it's awfully soon that we are going to be recording those, the big wrap up of did we complete our goals? How many books did we read? Blah, 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 all that kind of stuff. And so I started to freak out a little bit. Yeah. I was like, I can't be reading random books right now. I need to be reading books that I said I was going to read. And so we have 2, 3 something weeks, not enough time for me to really accomplish everything, but I want to at least try and accomplish the most important things. And so for me, those things are to read as many books as possible off of my specific TBR that I made, and also to keep my average year under 2004, because I know that I can do it. I read a lot of new releases throughout the year, because I was just kind of going off the rails. And so I've been skating that line all year. And so I was like, I need to focus in. If I read the books I said I was going to read, it'll be easy, because most of the ones I have left are classics anyway. So
oh, okay. Oh God, wait. Are we Are we Anna Kareninning?
I am currently 30% of the way through Anna Karenina.
Oh my god. That's so epic.
Isn't that sick?
You're right. Last week when we talked, you were like, wait, that means I only have 2 weeks to read Anna Karenina. And I was like, oh shit.
And that's the one that that matters the most to me. Because I've been meaning to read this book for probably over a decade at this point. And I have told myself I was going to read it, I think, for the past 3 years probably. And so this year I was like, I have to. And I knew I was probably going to read it in December because it's like wintry, cold. It's got that cold vibe. And so I was kind of planning to do that anyway. But I would have hoped to have started it a little earlier. But with all the moving and stuff, it kind of got out of control. But long story short, I am listening to the audiobook. And that was a whole thing in and of itself because I was listening to the audiobook on Spotify, which is really good. But it's like 37 hours long. As we all know, you can only listen to 15 hours a month on Spotify for audiobooks.
Oh, true.
And so I was trying to listen to the first 15 hours in November before November turned over to December. But I didn't. I listened to maybe 2. And so I was like, oh no, this isn't going to work. What am I going to do? And so I ended up getting a free trial for Audible so I can listen to the Maggie Gyllenhaal version. Because they have that on Audible. So that's what I'm currently doing. Okay, it's amazing. Yeah. I'm really enjoying it, actually. I'm surprised by how readable it is. A lot of people did tell me that. A lot of people told me, like, it's not as scary as it looks. It's just really long, but it's actually quite readable. A few people did warn me that there's lots of, like, farming chapters, and I have gotten to some of those, but I don't actually hate them. Because you know what I've been doing while I listen to the audiobook? I started playing Stardew again. And so I'm just sitting there playing on the Switch, actually, which I haven't done in a long time, but I was just sitting at my TV, playing Stardew on the big screen, farming away, while Levin talks about how much he loves farming. So that's really fun. So yeah, I'm feeling really good about that. I'm listening to it on 1.35 speed, and as of today, I think I have just under 18 hours to go at that speed.
Oh my god, that's so much.
I've listened to many hours, though. I think I listened to like 5 hours yesterday. Like, I went crazy yesterday just listening. So that's my primary focus. I have put Monsters on the back burner for now. It's going to have to wait probably until January. It's going to be one of those things that's going to carry through.
I literally forgot about Monsters.
I thought you were going to tell me that's what you finished. I was so excited to hear your review.
No, I forgot about it because this week has been actually pretty crazy in my personal life. And so things have just been a little topsy-turvy. Yeah. But I'll jump on your train and talk about what I'm currently reading. Yeah, please. Because I've done a very similar move to you doing. Looking at my goals, thinking, all right, pretty proud of some of these. Some of these are done. What can I still do? Yeah. And I think everyone listening that is aware of my goals knows what I need to do. And it is to read one more biography.
I knew it.
So I have returned to the Tove Jansson biography. I started it a couple of months ago, but I read like 4 pages. Like I had 10 pages or something. Like I was just at the very beginning. And now I'm a little farther in. I'm on page 48. And loving it. I love biographies. Like the point of this goal, the goal was to read 3 biographies this year. The point of this goal was because I believed, even though I'd never read a biography, I just believed that I would really like them. Like they just tick so many boxes for me, and there's so many reasons why I thought I could be a biography reader.
For sure.
And so I thought if I make myself read 3 of them in a year, that's kind of fast enough, close enough together that I've like exposed myself to this new genre. And I would learn if I liked it or not. And it's totally worked. Like I really enjoy them, and I am really looking forward to reading more. I did kind of want to just ride the success of the earlier 2 biographies that I read by listening to another one on audio, because I was like, that has worked, so I should just keep doing that. But I couldn't find one on audio that I actually cared about. So I was like, that's okay. I will just read this giant book. And so I'm making my way through this one. And yeah, it's great. It starts with the very opening sequences are all about her dad and how much her dad loved her, but also how much her dad loved Finland and how he kept going to war to protect Finland because it was like a really difficult time for Finland, and he's like away, and so his mom, her mom, just takes a lot of photos of her. So there's a lot of baby photos of Tuve because the mom would just send the dad a lot of photos of their baby, and yeah, it's really cute.
That is so cute. Well, that makes it good that you're not listening to it on audio then. You can enjoy the photos.
It's true. This is more than any other biography I've ever seen. Obviously, I don't know a lot about them, but it's got a lot of pictures and photos and illustrations and drawings. Like on almost every other page, there's something. So it's definitely a good one to read physically. That's a good point.
That's amazing. Okay, I have a question for you about their whole biography journey so far.
Okay.
Obviously, the biographies are a lot longer than books that you normally read. Usually you kind of stick to shorter books, but the biographies are long. Is that freaking you out, or are you liking it because you enjoy them so much that like having more juicy meat is good?
That's a really great question. I love that question. That's a great question because now you've made me think, why do I love a short book?
Yeah.
And I think I love a short book because I love the idea that an author knows what they have to say and they don't waste any time saying it. There's a strip back and a restraint where it's like, I've said what I need to say. I don't need to fluff it. I don't need to add to it. I don't need to stretch it out. I don't need to add a random side plot that doesn't actually make sense, or like all those sorts of things that kind of bother me. Right. I like an in and out operation. But so to answer your question, to pivot back, it doesn't bother me at all that biographies are long because they kind of have to be.
Yeah, there's so much to say.
There is so much to say. And like, obviously you can have a short biography, you can have a shorter one. But the truth is that you're cutting out details of someone's life. Mm-hmm. And so I get why they're long.
Yeah.
And so I don't feel myself being frustrated because I'm not like, oh, here we go, just adding flowers to this thing when we don't need to, or whatever. It's like, no, it's someone's life. You have to go from the beginning to the end, and the amount of things that happen, and it has to be long. So totally. You're right. It doesn't bother me that they're long.
Oh, that's awesome.
And actually, to your further point, I like that they're long because you're right. I really enjoy them.
Yeah,
I really
enjoy them, enjoying something, you want it to be more, right? Like you want it to keep going and to give you more information.
Yeah, I mean, I have read it's so different between fiction and nonfiction because with fiction, I've read books where I'm really liking them and I want them to end already so that it can stay like a perfect little jewel. Yeah. As opposed to like, no, just end it. Like now you're dragging it. Stop dragging it. Like it's that horrible feeling.
Yeah.
But with the biographies, like with the Jane Austen biography, I was so sad to have it end. I was loving it so much. I was like, God, I mean, for a lot of reasons, I wish she'd lived to be a lot longer. Yeah. But for one of the reasons was because then I'd get a longer biography.
Oh, crazy. Man.
Yeah, that's funny. All right, so I like that we're both reading stuff that has to do with our goals.
Yeah, big juicy
We're both
goals.
like having to trim the fat. We're like, okay, listen, this stuff we can get back to in January, everyone.
Well, exactly. I'm so completionist, but as we've seen this year, I've been like DNFing things left and right, like putting things down, and so I was like, you know what? I can put down Monsters and finish it when I'm done Anna Karenina, or when I'm done whatever other books I can manage to finish, because luckily when I unpacked my little book cart here, I also pulled out The White Album by Joan Didion, so I can now read that. I also pulled out The Wind-Up Bird Chronicle by Haruki Murakami, so I'm feeling a little bit of pressure to read both of those. But like, I don't think it's gonna happen. I only have 2 weeks, so we'll see. We'll see what I can do.
It's tough. So this week, I actually read 5 books, which is, I know. What?
Good job.
What's that even mean? Right?
That's awesome.
I read the 5 volumes of Heartstopper.
Oh, yeah, those are easy to fly through. Those are good.
So happy to fly through.
Yeah.
Like, it was a really, really great decision on my part because I just was like, it was quite a stressful week. And like I said, like there was a bunch of family stuff going down and I was just like, it was kind of a stressful time. And I was like, Heartstopper.
Heartstopper is nice. The answer. Yeah.
That's jolly. That's like kind. I mean, it is jolly. It's also not. It is very.
It gets pretty serious
some heavy themes
at times. Yeah.
But it's very compelling. It's very readable. It's very beautiful. I love those characters. It's just, it was the right call. It was also the right call, like reading challenge wise.
I know. I was gonna say, I don't know how many books you've read at this point. I've lost track.
Yeah, and guess what? I'm not going to tell you.
I know, I don't want you to. I want it to be a little secret.
I've decided I'm not going to tell you anything else until the end of the year with the big reveal.
Same with me. Am I still under 50 books? Who knows? Nobody knows.
Yeah, actually, I don't know. You're right. I have no idea. That's so
I do
fun.
secret reading. I don't tell you everything.
Secret reading. That's so funny. But yeah, so I slammed those books, and they were great. We've talked lots about Heartstopper before on here, so I don't have too much more to say, but they're great. What are we talking about? They're fantastic.
Awesome. Yeah.
They're awesome. They're just awesome. And I then went online and read the, like, new ones that are coming out this year.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm a Heartstopper mega fan now. And I've caught up to the last update.
I need to do that. After I finished volume 5, I started doing that, but then I was fully caught up and I was like, I have to wait now, and it was like too hard for me to keep up. But now that there's a bunch for me to read, I should really just get caught up.
Yeah, it was very satisfying. But there you have it. Okay, that's what I read this week. Now let's talk about your haul, because it's pretty cool.
All right, so this is very exciting for a couple of reasons. The first reason is, like, I got a package from Ariel, and it was very, very exciting. It was very triumphant, not only because it was a birthday present, and it's now December, so it felt really good to get the birthday present.
But it did get to you in November.
It did. I know, it was amazing. But the second thing that was amazing about it is that I have so many packages that have been flying around Calgary that are just, like, not arriving, and, like, so the fact that it arrived was crazy to me, and it was very triumphant because I've been waiting on another package for like 2 weeks, and I'm like, where did it go? I don't even know where it is now. But so yeah, it felt very good that it arrived safely because I was nervous that it wouldn't. But it was glorious. We did a little unboxing together the day that it arrived, which was great. It was a nice way to break up my work day. I was like, let's go open a present. And so we did. So there's some books, but I'll start with the non-book item first. So you also got me a candle, which I forgot to bring over here, but it's very delicious smelling gingerbread candle. It kind of smells like cinnamon hearts a little bit, which is nice. It's very spicy, so I'm excited to light that boy up very soon. But the most wonderful thing you got me is this mug. It's a Stardew Valley mug, and it's kind of made to look like those Starbucks location mugs where they have like all these cute little images, and it says Stardew Valley on it as if it's a real place.
It's so cute.
It's just the cutest. I have used it multiple times, and it's a wonderful mug. Good. It's nice and big. It fits a lot of tea or coffee, and I'm obsessed. So I love that. It's actually kind of funny. I don't have that many mugs now, but funnily enough, actually, the one I'm drinking my coffee out of today is another Stardew Valley mug. So
Did I get you that one?
No, Kyle got me this one. It's very cute. It's just a little coffee mug that has the stats for coffee from the game. You can also get tea versions of this, which are also very, very cool. So highly recommend that. So yeah, those were some cool items. You also got me one of those like paper towel cloth things. I always forget what they're called. I would show it to you, but I've been using it, so it's in the wash. Love that thing. So nice. Yeah, a lot of my gifts are not available here, but Ariel got me 4 books, which was crazy. When I opened up the little bag, I was like, looks like there's 4 books in there. Is that what I'm seeing? She was like, yep. And they're all like pretty random, like you said, but they're all very exciting and very perfect. Very perfect, I would say. So the first one, I was very confused by, but I'm now like, this is the book I want to read the most. And if I wasn't reading Anna Karenina, I would be reading this book. And that is Walking Through Clear Water in a Pool Painted Black, Collected Stories by Cookie Mueller. And this one has an introduction by Olivia Lang. And it's like a really weird edition, but it's kind of the only way you can get this book. I was looking into it, and it's like a hard to find, strange book. And so I love that you like did the work to find this book for me, because I don't think I ever would have heard of this book if you hadn't got it for me. And it just sounds so cool. Like, she kind of reminds me of Eve Babbitt's a little bit. Like, it sounds like she just like was adventuring around like amongst the rich and famous in like the 60s, 70s, 80s. And this is just a collection of her stories of what her life was all about. And it sounds so cool. And it gets amazing reviews. Like, everybody who reads this loves it. So I already know I'm going to love it. And so I'm really excited to read this as soon as humanly possible.
That's awesome. Yeah, I was looking for, because I know you're like enjoying the In the Biz books. I really am, yeah. And so I was looking for stuff that could fit in that category, and I was seeing a lot of stuff that was quite modern everyone kept recommending the Britney Spears memoir. I like Britney Spears.
I already have that, so I'm glad you didn't choose that.
Well, there you go. But I was like, nah, that's like, she's more with the 60s and 70s. Anyways, I found this one mentioned on some Reddit post or something. And I started looking it up. And like you say, like the reviews are insane. Everyone loves this book. It's like, it seems really, really awesome. And I was like, okay, well, I've got to get that one. And then it's like out of print sort of, and so it's just like really hard to get. And I was like, okay, I found a copy of it. I hope that the edition is okay. It's okay enough.
It is okay enough. It kind of reminds me of those like Dover like copies of classics. Like it's kind of just like kind of ugly, but it gets the job done, you know?
It's kind of enchanting in that ugliness. Totally.
Exactly. It'll stand out on the shelf, that's for sure.
Yeah, that's funny.
Yes, but then, okay, on to the next. So another one, this is one that I was not expecting, but I'm so glad that you got for me, and that is Stir Fry by Emma Donoghue. This is a book that I have been hunting for. Like, I went to a book sale right before I moved here, as I mentioned. And this was the book I was looking for. Like, every single day that I went to the sale, I was like, okay, gotta go to the D section. Gotta try and find it. They had every single other Emma Donoghue book but this one. Like, I swear, they had every single one of her books. I was like, why? Why, world? This is her first book. For anyone who doesn't remember, we discovered this a few months ago, and we're like, whoa, that sounds so good. And it was her first book, and it's like impossible to find. So I love that you found this for me. Ariel bought this on eBay for me. I've never bought anything on eBay. I love that you do that. Yeah. You find cool stuff
I bought
there.
that on eBay for you because I was like, that seems like a cool edition. All the editions are kind of strange. Yeah. And I thought this one was pretty, and it was like in pretty good condition. And then it turned out it was signed as well.
I forgot about that. Yeah.
So I was like, I'll get that one then. And then I was really scared because I thought it would get stuck in the Canada Post strikes. And thankfully it arrived in time.
Yeah, that was nuts. The fact that it all showed up. Yeah, that's the other thing we haven't mentioned. Canada Post is still on strike, so it's been very difficult to send packages, to receive packages.
Yeah.
FedEx has been letting me down, but that's okay. So the next book that you got me is one I've actually already read but didn't own, so that worked out perfectly. Right. And that is North of Normal by C.S. Sunrise Person. And this one is, the way I would describe it, is kind of like a Canadian glass castle. She lived a very like unusual childhood, and like her family is like a wilderness family, and they kind of just like lived all over the place. And I read it a few years ago and really enjoyed it, but I borrowed it from my mom, so I just never had a copy. But now, here we are, I have a copy, and it's making me want to read it again, honestly. We will see.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it sounded up your alley, like a thing that you'd like, but also, like, it's a person who lives in Alberta, so I thought.
Yeah.
Yahoo!
Yeah, I love that you really leaned into kind of the theme of changes in my life and what that could mean for my books, and that kind of leads into the last book you got me here, which is called Moving to Delilah by Catherine Owen. And this is a poetry collection about someone who moved to, let's see what it says, from coastal Vancouver to prairie Edmonton, and she purchased a house built more than 100 years ago, a home named Delilah. So this is about someone who moves from BC to Alberta and buys an old house. So it's like you and me combined. Yeah. And a poetry collection. I couldn't not.
I was so excited.
I'm like actually particularly excited to read this one soon as well, because I'm currently still in that like, I just got here, I don't know what's going on, like I'm feeling kind of lost in some ways, and so I would like to read something that kind of has that perspective potentially. Obviously I'm not living in an old house, I'm living like in a fancy apartment building, but it's the same similar situation. So
100%.
I'm really excited. Actually, I just saw a photo. Are there photos in here?
Oh,
maybe my eyes deceived me. I don't see a photo anymore. But so thank you again for sending me those books. I love getting books from you because you know me so well. You know exactly what I need.
I do love picking books out for you. Yeah. It was actually crazy. I like started doing this hunting, and I have a list of like 15 books I wanted to get you, and I was like, that's too many. But I ordered 7, and I was like, that's too many. What have I done? And I was like, I can just hold on to them for a while. Loads of them got stuck in the Canada Post strike. So I was like, well, that worked out then, didn't it?
I'll get them when I get them.
You'll get them when you get them. Yeah, exactly. Oh, boy. Well, okay, that's awesome. So does that mean we've come to the end of the episode? We did all the things we needed to do.
I think so. We made it.
Wow. Look at that. Look at us. Thank you again so much to everyone who came out to my event. That was really, really nice to meet lots of you. And I love selling people books. And I love stamping books. I did have some stamping problems early on. My ink pad was acting weird. So I feel like the first half of the event, I wasn't stamping as well as I would have liked to. But then I really figured it out and got my stride on the second half.
I'm sorry I couldn't be there to help.
I literally said that to multiple people. I was like, Raylene's better at stamping than me.
I love the stamping. Stamping is fun.
The stamping's good. I actually had someone who was like, where did you get that stamp made? And they like wrote it down. They were like, they're gonna get a stamp.
That's awesome.
Like, it's a good stamp. It's a good stamp.
Yeah, it's high quality.
But yeah, we're gonna go record our Patreon mini podcast now, the Question Vase, where we answer the questions that our listeners submit. So that'll be a fun time. If you want to check that out, it's on our Patreon. And we will talk to you next week. Good luck trying to finish off as many of your reading challenges as possible. All right. Goodbye.
Bye.